Just before we came on air, I spoke to the Liberal Democrat Minister for Justice and Civil Liberties, Simon Hughes. He told me Danny Alexander is right to reveal details of private discussions that took place in government.
We've had a government, it's worked very well. We in the national interest went in to work with our political opponents. We've rescued the economy, we've delivered the 2 million extra jobs, the 2 million apprenticeships, we've got the best growth in Western Europe, but we're now in a general election. And we're in a general election when we think it's absolutely vitally important that the public understand the risks of either a majority Tory or a majority Labour government. Majority Tory government, they will cut welfare on the backs of the poorest rather than having a fair outcome. Labour Party will borrow so that people will be having to pay off money for the whole of the next Parliament. We say you needn't do either. There's actually a fair, a sensible and a responsible course which does neither of those things.
And I think most, if not all, you included, would accept there's not going to be a Liberal Democrat majority government next time, so you would have to go into coalition again if you have the numbers. Nick Clegg said you would give the Tories a heart. How could you give them a heart if you're now stabbing them in the back?
No, look, we've moved from a country where 9 out of 10 people used to vote Tory or Labour. Now it's probably about 2 out of 3 or going down. We're in different politics. And that not a single person in Britain, I think, has said there'll be a Tory or Labour majority government. And therefore we are saying, what's the responsible option? Is it that you have a party which has shown it's willing to step up to the plate, take tough decisions, but come up with a much fairer Britain, more money into schools, pensions secure, lifting tax, or do you have a coalition where UKIP or the Scottish nationalists call the shots? Look, there's only one which gives a responsible outcome for the United Kingdom as a whole, and that's us.
What this looks like, though, is that in Nick Clegg and Danny Alexander, they're putting the party before their own personal aspirations. They're the two who've worked closest with the Tories in coalition. Once they're gone, surely it's the left-leaning Liberals who are going to take over.
No, look, we took a collective decision that at the last election, in the national interest, we will work with our regular political opponents, the Tories, and it has been blindingly successful. We've stopped the Tories doing horrible things that cut welfare. We've delivered the most successful recovery in Europe in the economic policy. We now have to make a new decision. We have made no preference. We have not had any discussion. There have been no secret meetings. There have been no secret deals. We want to make sure Liberal Democrats are there in sufficient numbers because we can deliver the fair Britain that Britain needs and the strong economy that absolutely we need. So look, we don't have a preference. Our view is to be there making sure we have a sane policy. The electorate will decide what the numbers are. And if the electorate confirm that no party has a majority, we will be responsible again, we will be fair again, and we will go in fighting for the things we believe in. For example, continuing to lift poor people out of tax.
Will Nick Clegg still be Liberal Democrat leader after the general election?
Of course he will. Because I expect him to hold his seat. If he holds his seat, he will obviously still be in Parliament. And if he's still in Parliament, he's the leader of the party. And the party, look, he's the first Liberal to have led us into government since we were in coalition government in the last war. That he has absolutely seen us through. The country has prospered in a way most of the rest of Western Europe hasn't. There are 2 million people extra in work because of our contribution. There are millions of people, 25 million people who are paying less tax because of our contribution. There are pensioners with better pensions. Of course, he will be the leader, and if other parties have difficulty with their leader, that's their problem. But we must absolutely make clear that people, you'll see him tonight, he's doing his television performance site. You will see he's absolutely gutsy, determined, responsible, but determined to give the fair Britain. And I think people will see, every time they see him, they reckon he performs well, because he does perform well, because he's committed to delivering the sort of outcome that gives us the fair Britain that I think most of the United Kingdom absolutely really want.
Simon Hughes speaking to me a short time ago.